I've spent 23 years with the U.S. Forest Service, most of them in the Monongahela National Forest, West Virginia. Trail maintenance, wildfire suppression, search coordination, infrastructure assessment. I file reports. I follow procedure. I document what I observe. What I'm about to tell you is not a story. It's a report that nobody in the Forest Service will ever file, because filing it means admitting that what's happening at Kessler Ridge Tower is real. And if it's real, then the tower can't come down. And if the tower can't come down, then someone has to keep checking the logbook. That someone is me. Kessler Ridge Tower has been unmanned for 36 years. Nobody is assigned to it. Nobody maintains it. Nobody is supposed to be there. But every week the logbook contains new entries, written after midnight, in handwriting that belongs to dead men. The first entry I found predicted a fallen tree. It was accurate. The second predicted a wildfire. That was accurate too. The third entry contained my name, written 61 years before I was born. Kessler Ridge sits at 4,200 feet on a secondary ridge in the eastern Monongahela, built in 1938. Standard air motor L4, steel frame, wooden cab, 14 by 14 observation room, 73 steps to the catwalk. The tower was continuously manned from 1938 to 1987. Then the Forest Service decommissioned it. Official reason: satellite monitoring made fixed towers obsolete. That's true for most towers. But Kessler Ridge was the only one in the district where the decommissioning memo was filed by the district ranger personally, bypassing normal review. And at the bottom, a single handwritten line: do not reassign, do not demolish, lock and leave, not demolish, not repurpose, lock it, leave it, don't come back. For 36 years, that's what happened. Last March, I was assigned to assess decommissioned structures for demolition review. Routine. Kessler Ridge was 7th on my list. The access road hadn't been graded in years. My truck was the first vehicle to compress those ruts in a long time. The tower stood above the bare canopy like a skeleton. I climbed. 73 steps, cold wind. The cab door was closed, but unlocked. The padlock lay on the floor, hasp rusted through from the inside. I stepped in. The observation room was clean. Not abandoned clean, maintained clean. The Osborne firefinder was still bolted to the center table. A chair sat in front of it, and on the table, next to the firefinder, the logbook was open. Every fire tower kept a logbook. Green hardcover, lined pages, entries by date and time, weather, visibility, smoke sightings, radio traffic. This logbook was open to a page dated 11 days ago. February 22nd, 2:14 a.m., clear. Visibility 40+ miles, wind NW 8 miles per hour, temperature 24 degrees Fahrenheit. No smoke observed. Barometric pressure falling. Storm system approaching from west. Heavy snow above 3,000 feet within 36 to 40 hours. Forest Road 12 deadfall probable root structure compromised on red oak at mile marker 4.2. Standard observation format, professional, precise. Blue ballpoint ink, fresh on the paper. Written in a tower that had been unmanned for 36 years. I'd cleared a fallen red oak on Forest Road 12 4 days ago. Mile marker 4.2. Root structure failure. The logbook had predicted it. 11 days before I found the entry. 8 days before the tree fell. I set up a trail camera on the stairs. Motion-activated infrared 30-day battery, repositioned the logbook on the table. locked the cab with a new padlock, marked the hasp with dental floss that would break if the door opened, came back 7 days later. Dental floss intact. Padlock untouched. Door had not been opened. 4 new entries, all between midnight and 4 a.m., weather observations, visibility reports, and predictions. I pulled the camera, reviewed every frame. 7 days of footage. The motion sensor had triggered 11 times. All wildlife. 2 deer, a raccoon, a turkey. At no point did a human being appear on those stairs. At no point did the cab door register movement. Nobody entered the tower. The entries were there anyway. May 4th's entry predicted a fire on Dolly Sods. South Ridge, May 14th. That was 10 days out. I flagged it internally, positioned a suppression crew within response range. Didn't explain why, just called it a precaution based on conditions. May 14th came. Clear sky, no lightning, no ignition, no smoke. Nothing. I sat in my truck that evening, and for the first time since I'd found the logbook, I felt something like relief. The logbook was wrong. The system had a flaw. If it could be wrong about this, maybe it could be wrong about other things. Maybe whatever this was, it was fallible. Maybe I didn't need to take it so seriously. May 15th, 6:12 a.m. My radio crackled. Fire on Dolly Sods, South Ridge. Fire investigation determined the ignition source was a subsurface coal seam that had caught on May 14th. It burned underground, invisible, producing no smoke for 24 hours before breaking the surface. The fire started on May 14th, exactly when the logbook said. It started underground, where no one could see it. The logbook saw it anyway. I never doubted an entry again. I pulled historical logbooks from the district archive in Elkins, 12 volumes, 1938 to 1987. I started with the last one, Ranger Curtis Purcell, assigned 1984 to 1987. Normal entries for 2 years. Then June 1986, a note in the margin. Entry from last night, not mine. Found 0600, handwriting unfamiliar, predicted thunderstorm accurate. September 1986, entry predicted hiker injury on North Fork Trail. Hiker broke ankle 48 hours later at described location. I did not write this entry. Requested personnel records for previous operators. December 1986. Handwriting in anomalous entries matches Ranger Lyle Haskell, assigned 1960 to 1962. Haskell died October 20th, 1962. Fall from catwalk. His handwriting is appearing in entries dated 24 years after his death. I am requesting transfer. Purcell's last entry, January 3rd, 1987. Decommissioning order, January 9th. I pulled Haskell's logbook next, 1960 to 1962. Lyle Haskell was meticulous. His entries were the cleanest in the tower's history. Precise measurements, block handwriting, almost mechanical. The same handwriting I'd been finding in the current logbook. Normal entries until October 1962. October 14th, 11 p.m. Anomalous entry appeared at approximately 0300. I was awake. I was watching the page. The letters formed without a hand. Ink appeared on the paper in sequence, left to right. The entry is in Gibbons' handwriting. Gibbons was assigned 1944 to 1951. Gibbons died 1953. The entry predicts the following. Haskell will not leave the tower after reading this. He will stay 6 more nights. On the 7th morning, he will step from the catwalk at 0412. He will not be found for 3 days. I checked the incident record. Lyle Haskell died October 20th, 1962. Fell from the catwalk. Body found October 23rd. Time of death estimated by the coroner, approximately 4 a.m. The logbook predicted his death 6 days early. Time, method, discovery, delay. All correct. And Haskell read the prediction. He knew. He stayed anyway. 6 more nights. I didn't understand that then. Why a man would read the date of his own death and sit in that chair for 6 more nights, watching. I understand it now. But first I need to tell you what I found on the next page. Below Haskell's final notes, on a page he'd left blank, was an entry I almost skipped. The handwriting was Haskell's, but the date was wrong. It was dated October 14th, 1962, the same day he'd discovered his death prediction. But the content didn't match anything from that era. It read, "A ranger named Caldwell will sit in this chair 61 years from now. He will be assigned to assess the tower for demolition. He will find the logbook. He will verify the first prediction within hours. He will not file an accurate report. He will be the one who stays. My name." Written in 1962, 61 years before my first visit. I was born in 1978. This entry was written 16 years before I existed. I sat in the Elkins archive for a very long time after reading that, because the entry didn't just predict my arrival, it predicted my decision. He will be the one who stays, written with the same certainty as every other prediction in the logbook, as if it had already happened. I tracked down Milton Cross, assigned 1975 to 1980. 78 years old, living in Parkersburg. When I mentioned Kessler Ridge, his expression didn't change. "You found the logbook," he said. "Yes." "And the predictions are accurate?" "Every one." He was quiet, then. "I didn't file a report because reporting it means they tear the tower down. And if they tear it down, the predictions stop. I ran the most efficient district in the Monongahela for 5 years, and everyone thought I was brilliant. I wasn't brilliant, Caldwell. I was reading the logbook." "You never questioned where the entries came from?" "Every day, but the tower doesn't hurt people. Haskell's death, the book, didn't cause that. It predicted it. There's a difference. The book doesn't make things happen. It knows what's going to happen. And once you've verified that 20, 30, 50 times, you can't stop reading. Not because it controls you, because you're a practical man, and practical men don't destroy tools that work." He paused. "You're already checking it regularly?" "Thursdays." He nodded. "I went Wednesdays." In April, the entries changed. The predictions had been professional for months. Weather, trail hazards, infrastructure. April 11th broke the pattern. 2:17 a.m. clear. Wind. SW 4 miles per hour. Caldwell's daughter will call at 3:15 p.m. tomorrow. The house in Beckley has a roof leak. The estimate will be $4,200. She will not mention the second estimate because she does not want him to worry. I read that at 9 a.m. At 3:17 p.m., my daughter called. Roof leak, $4,200. I asked about a second opinion. She went quiet. "How did you know about that?" I told her lucky guess. But I sat in my truck after that call, because the logbook had just crossed the line. It wasn't predicting weather anymore. It was predicting private conversations between people who'd never been near the tower. Below the entry about my daughter, there was another, different handwriting. Not Haskell, not Gibbons, not Purcell. Not any hand I'd seen in 12 volumes of logbooks. Clean, precise, USFS standard format, clearly trained, but matching no ranger in any personnel record I could find. The entry read, "Caldwell will need the following information in September. He is not ready to receive it now. He will be ready when his daughter calls for the second time." Below that, a doctor's name, a phone number, a department at Ruby Memorial Hospital in Morgantown. I didn't understand that entry in April. I wrote down the name and the number, and I put them in my wallet, and I didn't think about them. I should have thought about them. In May, I did something I'd been avoiding. The logbook had predicted it, of course. Late April entry. Caldwell will stay in the tower on the night of May 8th. He will watch the page at midnight. He will see. So on May 8th, I climbed the 73 steps with coffee, a flashlight, and 23 years of professional composure that was failing by the minute. I sat in the chair, Haskell's chair, the chair where every ranger had sat, watching the forest, recording what they saw. The logbook was open to a blank page. 11:45, nothing. 11:58. I leaned in close. Flashlight on the paper, 12:01 a.m. The first letter appeared. No hand, no pen, no mechanism. The ink materialized in the fiber of the paper, blue ballpoint, appearing letter by letter, left to right, in Haskell's precise block handwriting. May 9th, 0001, clear. Visibility 35 miles, wind, and W 6 miles per hour. Standard observation, written by nobody. I was the only living thing on that tower. The entry continued. One occupant, male, seated at observation table. He is watching the page. It was describing me. In real time, Caldwell has read the archives. He has visited Cross. He has verified the predictions. He does not understand the mechanism. A 5-second pause, no letters. Then, the mechanism is the tower itself. It was built to observe. Every ranger who sat in this chair and watched the forest left something behind. Not a ghost, not a soul. Their attention, their vigilance, the act of watching, sustained, professional, focused, persists in this structure after the observer leaves, after the observer dies. The tower is not haunted. It is staffed. It has always been staffed. 14 rangers gave it their attention. Their attention remains, still watching, still recording, still predicting what experienced observers would predict because experienced observers are still here, observing. The writing stopped. I sat in that chair until sunrise. The logbook didn't write again. I understood now why Haskell stayed, why Cross went back every Wednesday, why Purcell wrote lock and leave instead of tear it down. The tower wasn't predatory. It was a fire tower. It did what fire towers do. It watched. The difference was that it never stopped. Even after the rangers went home, even after they died, their years of watching remained and accumulated. 86 years of accumulated observation, 14 lifetimes of watching, all of it still active, still recording, still seeing things that only sustained, focused attention can see, including things that haven't happened yet. In September, my daughter called. "Dad, I need to talk to you about something." The tone in her voice, I knew before she said it, not because the logbook told me, because I'm her father. But the logbook had told me. In April, the unknown handwriting, the doctor's name in my wallet. "I've been having headaches," she said. "For a few months. I finally went in. I already had the name. I already had the number." "Make an appointment at Ruby Memorial," I said. "Ask for Dr. Adrian Vasquez, neurology." Silence. "Dad, How I haven't even told you what they found. Just make the appointment, sweetheart. Please." She did. The diagnosis was early stage, treatable, operable. Dr. Vasquez, according to her oncologist, was the best in the state. They caught it months earlier than they would have without the referral. Because of a logbook entry written in April, in handwriting that belonged to no one in any record. The unknown hand had given me the information I needed to help my daughter 5 months before she knew she was sick. I sat in my truck after she called to tell me the surgery was scheduled, and I didn't feel afraid of the logbook. I felt grateful, and that gratitude, that debt was heavier than any fear. You understand now why I keep going back. In October, the district announced demolition review for all decommissioned structures. Budget cuts, liability concerns. Kessler Ridge was on the list. I submitted a preservation recommendation. The board pushed back. No operational purpose. Unjustifiable cost. Demolition scheduled November 15th. On October 30th, I climbed the tower. New entry, dated November 15th. The tower will not be demolished. Caldwell will cancel the order on November 12th. Below it, an entry dated November 22nd. 1 week after the tower should have been rubble. A prediction about my daughter's post-operative scan. The results, the prognosis. A specific question. She should ask Dr. Vasquez about a clinical trial. Information that could determine whether my daughter lives a full life or doesn't. Written in the unknown handwriting. Available only if the tower was standing on November 22nd. On November 12th, I canceled the demolition. Told my supervisor it was a preservation issue. He didn't push. The logbook knew I'd cancel. The logbook always knows, because the logbook doesn't force anyone to do anything. It doesn't need to. It just provides information you can't afford to lose. Information about the people you love. And then it waits for you to make the practical decision. Every ranger did. Everyone. The November 22nd entry was accurate. The scan was clean. The clinical trial information was exactly what my daughter needed. The tower saved her life, and I can never tear it down. That was 4 months ago. I still check the logbook every Thursday. The predictions continue. Accurate, professional, useful. My section has the lowest incident rate in the district. Nobody asks why. But last Thursday, something changed. The logbook had an entry in a handwriting I hadn't seen since April the Unknown Hand. The one that doesn't match any ranger in 86 years of records. Beneath it, a second entry. In handwriting I recognized immediately. Mine. My block letters. My notation style. Written at 2:47 a.m. on a night I was asleep in my bed 30 miles away. My entry was a standard observation. Weather, visibility, wind. Then, one prediction, filed for long-term record, a date, 7 weeks from now, a time, 4:08 a.m., and a single line, Caldwell will climb the tower for the last time. It doesn't say I fall, it doesn't say I die, just that I climb for the last time. I've been thinking about Haskell, how he read his own prediction and stayed 6 more nights, how everyone assumed he was crazy, how maybe he understood that once the tower has your attention, once you've given it years of watching, your observation doesn't leave when your body does. Maybe Haskell didn't fall. Maybe he sat down and never got up, and his attention is still there, still watching, still writing entries in neat block letters at 2 a.m. Not dead, not alive, just observing, the way he always did, the way the tower taught him to. But here's the part I haven't told anyone. The unknown handwriting, the one that predicted my daughter's diagnosis. The one that doesn't match any ranger who ever worked Kessler Ridge. I looked at it again last Thursday, studied it, compared it to every sample in the archive. Then I compared it to the entry written in my hand. The letter spacing is different. The slant is different. The pressure is different. But the structure is the same. The way the T's are crossed, the way the O's close, the way the numbers sit on the baseline, the same small habits, evolved, changed by time, by repetition, by years of writing in the same chair, on the same table, in the same cold observation room. The unknown handwriting isn't unknown. It's mine. Not my handwriting now, my handwriting after. After I climb the tower for the last time, after I sit in the chair, after I stay. The logbook has been receiving entries from me, from the version of me that hasn't happened yet since April. That version gave me my daughter's diagnosis. That version told me the doctor's name. That version saved her life, which means I will go back. I will climb those 73 steps. I will sit in the chair, and I will not come down, and the logbook will not stop, because I will still be watching. I know this because today, I opened the logbook to the page after my final prediction, and there was a new entry, dated the day after, in the unknown handwriting, my future handwriting. It read, November 9th, 0001. Clear, visibility unlimited, wind, calm, 1 occupant, male, seated at observation table. He arrived on schedule. He is comfortable. He can see very clearly from here. Observation continues. The logbook has never been wrong. In 86 years, across 14 rangers and 36 years of silence and every prediction I have verified, it has never once been wrong. 7 weeks. I have 7 weeks to decide whether the logbook is wrong for the first time in its existence, or whether I'm going to climb those 73 steps, sit down in that chair, and become the 15th observer in a tower that has never stopped watching. The worst part isn't the prediction. The worst part is that the version of me who's already there, the one writing entries in handwriting I don't recognize yet, saved my daughter's life. And I don't know how to refuse to become him. That's where the report ends. That's all I'm willing to say. If you've stayed this long, you understand why some things never make it into official records, why some stories are only told once. To strangers, in the dark. This is horror frequency. There are more accounts like this one. Men and women who witnessed things they were never meant to see. Their stories are coming. Subscribe and stay close. Some of these reports are still being written.